Last night a man came by, said you haven't lived until you've tried to be a caged bird who let himself break free. He said he don't mean to criticize, he's just a passerby with young man's eyes. Said when he was my age he looked just like me. Young man, don't you know it ain't way up and my way I aim to go away. Fly, fly, gonna say goodbye to the road that I've been traveling, to the load that I've been carrying. It's a new day, yes it is. Fly, fly, gonna say hello to the places that I'm gonna go. The great unknown and the open road. It's a new day, yes it is. I've loved, lost, laughed and cried, and through it all held my head high, 'cause these memories have made me who I am. I don't know what's on the other side of this mountain high that I'm about to climb, but those old man's words keep playing in my head. Young man, don't you know it ain't way up and my way I aim to go away. Fly, fly, gonna say goodbye to the road that I've been traveling, to the load that I've been carrying. It's a new day, yes it is. Fly, fly, gonna say hello to the places that I'm gonna go. The great unknown and the open road. It's a new day, a new day, a new day, yes it is. To the lives we leave behind, to the life we look to find. Can you feel the new day coming? Yeah. Fly, fly, gonna say goodbye to the road that I've been.
Welcome to Gravel Trap Legends, fourth and final round of the Formula Juniors, and we have got ourselves at Imola historic circuit 1972, 5 kilometers, and it's got a 12 turns, and it's going to be a fast and tricky race in these Formula Juniors, where they're trying to keep the pace as much as they can. These 1 litre engines, 126 horsepowers and 116 newton meters of torque, just under half a ton of car. And we can see that the weather's clear. The guys have already had about 10 minutes qualifying, and we've just got the last part of qualifying happening now. The last 10 minutes. So again, 5 times tyre wear, compulsory pit stops for the tyres, and obviously the GTL safety car can be called up until the last 5 minutes of the race, and then it's all go to the checker flag. But we've also got that 1 extra lap, so 45 minutes plus 1 extra lap. And obviously 4 track cuts before drive-through penalty. Not too sure how bad these track cuts may be of this circuit. But let's just bring up now the standings before we go to the track. And you can see Cuckoo and Christopher Razor tied on points. 79, and only 4 points adrift is Kiz. And Mac Attack 73 points. Brett S on 61, tied up with Stu M, after Stu M had his best result of 2023, finishing 9th last week at Monza Short. And look at that man in 8th. Rangy Rover took his first victory with Gravel Trap Legends, I believe, last week. And he was a very happy man as well, taking that victory by 2.5 seconds from Cuckoo. So let's get to the track. And here we are in all the glory of the classic 1972 Imola circuit. And people that'll be aware of Imola, you'll see that some of the chicanes obviously not here as they're just going past, they're going through the Tosa hairpin and up the hill up to Peratella. That's turn 6. There is no frills hitting along the barrier. See if he can keep going. No, we won't get going, so we won't be able to see. But of this fabulous circuit. But here we got Esky Man coming through the. Actually, I'm a little bit was a little bit confused there. So he's coming up to the Rivazza at the moment. Turns 10. Now into turn 11. And onto the front main straight. We've seen that change over the years. We've seen back in the 90s where they put a chicane, late 90s, through that part of the circuit. And they're gone back to this style, back in the historic way. You get massive amounts of speeds before they would come normally through a chicane, but now we've got the Tamburello curve. Oh, there's a nasty little bump there halfway through that circuit. Would be aware as well, this circuit was flooded only a couple of months ago as the car just spin in front of Esky as he comes up through the Tosa hairpin now, which is turn 5. And you can see that climb. It's a steep climb up to Peratella. And a downhill run here, which is very hard on the brakes. Turn 7 and 8. And normally they'd come through up here and you'd normally have the Viranti chicane. And now it's just a curve. Come down the hill into the two Rivazzas, turns 10 and 11. Full slip angle by Esky at the moment. A Rangy Rover, after his good run at Monza, has so far got himself on pole position. Smithy, who had an absolutely brilliant battle with Truey last week, finds himself in 13th. Truey up all the way up in the 4th position, so this is a good result from Truey in the number 10 car. Just under 6 minutes remaining. So this, as we said in the opening part of the broadcast, the final time we'll see these Formula Juniors for Gravel Trap Legends in this series. It's been a very enjoyable one. But the championship continues, so don't despair. We've still got all these drivers coming back next week for the final run, which will be the former Retros G1 cars around historic Kailami. We can't wait for that. So basically this has been the breeding ground and they're all getting signed up by the big name teams for the showdown of the final race of the series. Then they'll probably fit in squeeze in a short, maybe mini series, not too sure. what Gravel Trap Legends' plans are. But they have got obviously a new series ready to pop as soon as the 1.5 version gets released and everything can be tested to make sure everything will be alright. And it's for all you endurance buffs. So make sure you check their Discord channel. And it's all open for Australia and New Zealand. Well, I should say New Zealand and Australian. As Esky Man puts it up on pole position, as Rangy Rover obviously has been disconnected, so this is hard luck by Rangy Rover. He was up on top of the leaderboards. He's been disconnected and has to come back, and his time has obviously has all been reset, so that's a big shame. And wouldn't that be a great feature in AMS2 if they can bring it, if someone gets disconnected, that they can have their time still recorded, and also in a race if they get disconnected they can have that freedom to come back in and have that time in the pits before they get released again, before they can get going. Maybe wait in the pits for a minute before they let them release out of their pit bay and rejoin the race. Yes, it'll be a bit of a handicap, but at least they can continue in on the race. And it'll help for a lot of endurance type racing as well. Man that was second last week, what a battle we had for the lead. That was sensational. Over the first 4 cars were separated by only 3 seconds last week. This might be a little bit more spread out, as it's a lot longer circuit, as we said, about 5 kilometres in length. Christopher Razor picked up a bag full of points, as we were saying, and he's obviously tied for the lead. So big battle between Christopher and Cuckoo this time around. Christopher at the moment in position 7. You'll see him on the 4th row compared to Cuckoo on 5th. So he'll just be a row behind at this stage. 2 minutes remaining. What a tight corner that is down the base of the hill at Castellaccio, is it? I'll just keep turning at turn 7 and 8, I believe. But Magic Mass, we've seen him being fast, 1 lap pace. Can he string it together for a race? You'd really like to see a good race result if he can. He hasn't had the best of luck. A DNF last week, and I think it was much the same the week before in Ibarra, which is one of the most picturesque tracks you can see on AMS2. So we're counting down to the end of qualifying. About 1 minute remaining. Can anyone topple Magic Mass at the moment? Christopher Razor. He's going to get maybe 1 more shot at this if he wants. You can see at the moment he's got a bit of a gap on Cuckoo. He'd be happy to see that he's got that initial pace. He'd be loving to see if he can take the lead into this final round at Kailami in the big, brutal, historic Formula 1 cars. 1971 type cars, the Formula 1 cars, I believe. Early 70s anyway. He's just going to cross over the line before the timer runs out, so he's going to get that 1 extra lap if he wishes, as he half a second off his best time. So we'll see how he goes in this first sector. This will really decide if he's going to continue on this lap around. You can just see going through the Tamburello corner. These cars not as fast as what they are back in the day in the Formula 1 when they were going through their flat chat. You can see they're hanging on just in these little cars. And he's 0.2 down, so unless he can find something out here in sector 2. The next man as well, Kiz just behind him. There's only 4 points adrift in this championship. There's not much points. I think points are only separated by 1 down the order, but there is that point for the fastest lap as well in the race, so that could be vital. And he hasn't lost any time in that second sector, so if he thinks he can pull out a little bit more in this final one, you may see him leapfrog up into where No Frills is onto the 3rd row instead of the 4th row, so that'll be a bit of a benefit for him to just have a bit of a margin to Cuckoo. He's cutting through the grass there. Be lucky if that's not invalidated. I haven't done any laps around this circuit, so I'm not too sure how strict the track cuts are, but he's still onto it, so obviously this time could be counting. Magic Mass, no, he's into the pits. So obviously it wasn't counted, but big result by this man, Truey 84 in 4th position on the 2nd row. So we'll see how Truey goes. But Magic Mass on pole position with Esky Man alongside him. Brad Luck on the 2nd row with Truey beside him. Brad S. Back again after having a couple of weeks off in 5th position on the 3rd row alongside No Frills. On the 4th, as we said, Christopher Razor. And then Kiz, but alongside him on the 5th row. Mark 860 got up there. And Bence got there into 10th position. So well done to Bence. We've seen him up and down at Monza last week on the 6th row. That's where Cuckoo finds himself. The championship leader alongside with Christopher. But he's there on row 6. And then Pixel Boy will be beside him. Mac Attack on row 7 with Smithy, who had that sensational battle all race long with Truey last week. Bales is bailed up there down in on the 8th row with his good mate Stu. So keeping him company. And there's Big Max Power. And he's alongside last week's race winner, Rangy Rover, who had pole in this race until he obviously had to leave the lobby, maybe for a quick toilet break, and had to then come back in, and the officials deemed that wasn't appropriate, and they reset his time, so he found himself at the back of the grid. So he knows he's got pace, Rangy, and he's got a 45-minute race, and we'll just see how he controls his race tonight. We expect him to be maybe at least get in the top 10, and I'd say in the top 6 tonight if things go well, if he can get through the field without too much issues. But there'll be a lot of people hoping Magic Mass can have a good result after he's shown some pace since he's on his return with Gravel Trap Legends. Normally likes to hang it out sideways on the dirts, out on the dirt tracks around the world on the rally stages, and trying his luck on the asphalt after having some time off. So here we go. So not the best view angle for the start of the race, but we'll see how we go, and off we go. Tyres smoking it up as they all filter through, and it looks like Truey's hasn't quite got off the line as good, and they're all swamping Truey. And look at Range, he's already up 2 spots, but it's Brad Luck who's taken the spot already on Magic Muss through the Tamburello curve. A slight turn here to turn 3 and then turn 4. Here we we are in the Tosa hairpin, and now a big climb up the hill they come. Look at them all filtering through the field. It's a gaggle of cars and kids in that famous black 44 car that we've seen much action. And I believe also his fellow teammate Esky Man's just up the road a little bit further in the second of the 44 car. With that smirk on his face, Esky Man. Picking up the dirt and the dust. Let's go in on board here on the cockpit. Early in the race on Esky Man. Look at the dash, look at the old dials. He's got that car fueled up, ready to go. It'll be unreal if we see that drop down in future updates. At the moment, it's just a graphic. But here he is, hard on the brakes down the inside. Squirming around, but it's going to be Brad Lucker who looks like he's going to take the lead of the first lap after Magic Mass got run down through the first corner at Tamburello. But here we go, we know the slipstream, how it works. These cars, and it's Esky Man up into third position. Christopher Reyes is a sitting duck at the moment, so is Magic Mass. He could be vulnerable here. Oh, he almost got his front right wheel right in the gearbox of Magic Mass. And it looks like that Christopher's going to see if he can benefit coming down into the Tosa hairpin, maybe, no. Oh, as Magic Mass goes wide. As he was trying, he knew Esky Man was down the inside and he's not getting caught out, but it's true, he's still in fourth position. Looked like he got swamped at the start. But he's moved his way back up into fourth with Magic Mass running wide, giving him that position. And a lot of other cars too. Magic Mass dropped from second all the way down to ninth on that run wide of the Tosa hairpin. Here comes Brett, the ever fast knock on your door, on your back door, Brett S. He's going to find himself on the wrong side of the road here. Having that little kink there has obviously helped him, so he's been able to hold that position now into fourth position. One of the best liveries on track from Mark 860. Love this number 3, British green. Bit of a Lotus feel, or even a Brabham. Maybe more the Lotus. Doing a good job. Championship leader up in third position. Equal championship leader as to Cuckoo. Plenty going on here. Bence, I think it's Smithy actually up into 11th from 14th position. So he's doing a great job. Rangy Rover though, just around the outside. This is going to be tight. Rangy's out on the grass, but can he hold it up here? I think there's a car. It's Cuckoo, championship leader. Oh, he's been disconnected. Oh no, he's up. He actually hasn't been disconnected. He's found himself up the embankment. So he's had a big off. And that's just one thing I'll bring note is that damage is off on this series. Was on originally. Oh, look at this. Brad Luck and Esky Man. Now Esky Man's taken the lead from Brad. So damage is off due to the random suspension glitch that seems to happen with these Formula Juniors. Feels like they go over an imaginary brick, has been told by some of the drivers, the feeling that they get. Or the visuals, I should more say. They experimented and had damage off, and they found that seemed to have had solved the issue. So, and this situation where Cuckoo found himself right up on the cyclone wire fence, on the catch fence for the fans. He probably would have had terminal damage there. As Kiss is coming in, we've seen this many a time. He comes in early for his mandatory stop for the 4 tyres, so they'll whack that on. And who can't wait for the era-specific pit crew to appear in the next update? That's going to be very, very interesting as well. Because look at this going on here for the lead of this race. So we thought that they were going to be spread out a little bit more compared to what we saw at Monza Junior Circuit last week. But this 5-kilometre circuit is still keeping these drivers fairly close to this lead. We've got a 5-way battle. As the season gets on, this is a thing. Gravel Trap Legends might have to start looking at a 10-round series, because the drivers just seem to become one with the car late in the series. As they start to work out the cars and they start to learn to love them. Tell you who will watch his, we'll go on board just on the roof cam, right onto the roll hoop of Brett S, as he's trying to see if he can force his way through on Christopher in any way. He's got a nice toe. Look at the detail that I have here of the back of the gearbox and the rear axle. How crazy is this? Through the Tamburello curve. The creek's just off to the right hand side over that hedge there. You can just see the creek just in the background on the right, just on the right following this part of the circuit. There's a bridge there. Oh, big moment. This is going to be a big one. And he's got the same situations as what we saw Cuckoo have, but he didn't get caught up on the catch fence. Those fans were pretty brave. They didn't move a muscle. Didn't even wince by the looks of things. The bloke holding his beer didn't even spill it. And look at them all come through now. Stu up into 12th position. Can he better his best result of 9th from last week? He's in a good spot at the moment, not too far away. Still keeping in touch of Smithy, who's in 9th position, only 2 seconds up the road. But he's trying to fend off No Frills. Been missing a few of the weeks. Let's go back up the front though to Esky Man, my fellow commentator that joined us back at Ibarra when he got rudely disconnected before the start of the race. And wasn't it entertaining having him in the commentary? So if you haven't seen round 2 at Ibarra, make sure you go to the YouTube channel to check that out. So you can find all the action on replays stored at JP Sim Racing on YouTube. So make sure you go and check all that out. And here we go, Brad Luck trying to see if he can make a impression here. I believe Brad Luck, sure if he was one of the drivers who was up in the championship before he missed a couple of rounds. now got that lead of the race. Christopher's dropped off a little bit, so he's trying to fend off Truey. Pixel Boy got the yellow cars, the 22s, the 44 car in total. So they are mixing it up with the 44s that we know of Esky Man. Isn't it great that hearing these cars singing and dancing around the circuit? Definitely a car that I'd love to give a go once I'm able to jump back into my Sebring after my recovery. And doesn't this look great coming down past the start finish line? Good camera angles here. I like the trees in the foreground in that shot that we just had previously. And here comes Rangy Rover. I said that he's going to maybe get into the top 6. He's doing a good job at this stage. Bent's in the 6th position at the moment. 2 seconds in front. He's the car just here in the red car. So he's latched onto the back of this train, Rangy. So if he can clear these 4 cars, he'll find himself in that top 6, and we may see him opt then to have a pit stop. Or no, and Rangy might got that pace just to keep going. No use once he's got that clear track as he's, oh, this is very close indeed. As Pixel Boy running wide and just can't get the power on coming up the hill out of turn 8. And Rangy's made 2 positions there, taking Pixel and Magic. Can't get much closer as Pixel Boy, is it? No, it's Magic attacking and has made that position on Rangy. This one seems to be going to go on for a while. Don't forget we got Bales, who's can show some pace. Esky Man's into the pit lane. And it looks like Brad S obviously's had a pit stop as Max Power has gone into the wall. Big moment there, coming down the hill, I believe. Coming on the start finish straight, so that was down through Rivazza there. Oh, does it look like Smithy's having a go in defensive here as Magic Muss finds himself up into 5th position now. That's because some of the other guys I think up front have pitted. Magic Muss has got himself through there. There's a lot going on here in the background. And he's going to have this corner down the hill. This right-hand kick. Oh, big moment between these drivers down here. Pixel Boy. Oh, and we've got Smithy upside down as well. He's reset. We've got Brad Luck pointing the wrong way. He's looking at the cars coming at him. So he's got to try and do a U-turn here if he can. Doing it like a pro, but he wouldn't be happy with that. That was a big incident there. Going through Varantier. A safety car, so the safety car has been called. The GTL safety car will, I say these drivers might come in. Actually, they're going up through the Toaster hairpin, so they're on the wrong part of the circuit. And all these guys are taking the time to take their compulsory pit stop. So watch to see, these guys are going to benefit. So I would not be taking out the chance of maybe Magic. Oh, Magic Must, did he not go into the pits? Yes, he did. There's a good chance that Magic may end up taking this race, being able to have this stop under the yellow. Don't forget, I believe Esky Man was up the front when he pitted, so he would be maybe the effective race leader, as all these others have had to get to a pit. The biggest loser may be Rangy Rover. He got through that incident but didn't get into the pits, didn't take the opportunity to pit. Let's bring up the map just to see where everyone are at the moment. They may do one more lap, so some of these drivers might take the opportunity, if there is going to be that one extra lap, to take a pit stop. We will see a hive of activity as all these cars will come in, and we will probably see this man, Esky Man, maybe Brad Luck as well. I think these guys have pitted. I'm not 100% sure about Brad, but I know Esky Man has. Brad S, maybe these guys are all going to filter in. We'll just see if they're going to start this race. I think they're going to start. They're starting the race now, so the yellow has been taken away. And the race resumes again. Now these drivers will want to run and run hard. And they'll be hoping for another maybe possible safety car. Oh, and it looks like Truey's down the inside here. Out of turn 5. But Christopher's been able to have that wider exit to keep the power on, but then Truey should have the corner here up into turn 6 on top of the hill. Nice move by Truey. All the fans out for an outing. And they're getting treated by some of Gravel Trap Legends' finest drivers in New Zealand and Australia. Now Esky Man, Brad Luck, here's Brett. No frills. We're all battling out here for 5th position. Back up front we go. Christopher Razor. I don't think he's feeling very confident at the moment. His own championship leader, as we said with Cuckoo. Cuckoo finds himself 45 seconds a rear, we can see, in 15th position. So Christopher has obviously got the opportunity to take a pit stop and try and come out in front of Cuckoo, which he should be able to do. 50km speed limit though. I think it was 50km speed limit. I can't quite remember there. They might not have a speed limit back in the daylight where they used to come screaming in. Just got to keep it gauge on his times too, Christopher, because Cuckoo's in the 51s. So slowly gaining a long way in this race, still with 24 minutes remaining, plus the one extra lap. A lot of these front runners all need to still hit. Let's have a look back down here at this little battle between, we'll just see how it goes through this section as Christopher's picking up a little bit of a toe. We might see a challenge for the lead. Oh, is Truey's really trying to see if he can keep hold of this lead. Best result that we've seen so far. He's got Brett on the outside, and Brett may look like he's got this run. No, he's had to tuck in behind. No, these two have actually pitted, so these drivers should actually be the effective race lead. Oh, was that Kiss making a mistake there? No, it's the trees. If you go on board, going down the hill into turns 7 and 8, cameraman not set up. Christopher's made the move and it's retaken the lead. As here comes Mark on in the toe. Hope you're enjoying this fourth and final round of the Formula Juniors with Gravel Trap Legends. When we say final, there is still one more round of this series where all the points are still going to count, as these drivers have all coming out of the Formula Juniors into the Formula Retro F1 cars for the final round around Kailami next week. 72 on whichever version, the historic version of Kailami. And that should be very entertaining as well. Here we go up the hill. Hi, Dado. Yeah, they are very good cars, these ones. I've only been able to commentate over these cars. I haven't actually given these cars a drive yet due to my injury. But obviously I got a lot of feedback back in round 2 when Esky came and joined me in the commentary booth and gave a good lot of information about these cars, how to extract the most out of them. And here he comes into the pit lane. So there does sound like there is a pit speed limit of some type. You can definitely see that he was slowing down to a certain speed, but he came in hot too, so Mark may have picked up a time penalty, which unfortunately we don't see. Oh, we would see in the timings there actually. There you go. So it doesn't look like anything's gone through for Mark. So he's got out and he's been serviced in pit lane and he's back out, but it looks like Esky Man. And Bence, I'm not 100% sure if Bence got a pit stop in. He qualified well. So Truey will be one of the last drivers that needs to pit, I would imagine. Stu's down the order a bit. He was fighting there in 12th position earlier in the race. So here comes Esky Man. Couple of seconds faster than Bence that previous lap, so won't be long if he can pass Bence here, which he should do. As in goes Truey for his pit stop, so that brings Esky Man to be in the lead of the race here on lap 15 with 18 minutes remaining. Beautiful sunny skies. Contrast for what it was in the real life about a month ago when the floods ripped through this circuit. With a creek just off to the right. And look at Bence fighting hard. As that might be Max Power actually. Back out saying hello to the fans. Probably got his hand out trying to grab the beer. The tough fans out there. We saw, I think it might have been Cuckoo or it might have been Kiss, one of the guys, earlier up on the fence barrier, went straight ahead and the guys didn't flinch, didn't even spill his beer. Now let's go and have a little look. See Magic Mass as he's come out of the pits. It's in front of Pixel Boy. And here we go, Smithy. With Stu only a little bit further behind. And is that Max Power again? No, it's not Max Power. Apologies to Max. It was actually Brad Luck. We've got the canary yellow and the lime yellow cars battling it out. Position 15. The field's spread out after that safety car. It's really spread the field out as some of the drivers didn't elect to pit as they were just crossing the start-finish line of the pit entry, I think, when it was caught. So those drivers have sort of lost out a little bit. Using every inch of the circuit, Christopher and Range in tow. These drivers are obviously going to try and see if they can pick up some of these places late in this race. 32 seconds behind the race leader. I don't think they're going to find themselves being able to trouble Esky Man. But the main thing Christopher wants to see is himself in front of Cuckoo, which he is, but he's got to be careful of Kids. So Kids up in 4th position. He was only 4 points off the lead from Christopher and Cuckoo, who were tied on 79. Kids was on 75. And Mac Attack wasn't too far behind either. So both Mac Attack and Kids are happy to see this battle between Christopher and Rangy. Ranger with a 49.6 that last lap around, and he's challenging Christopher, and looks like he's up into the 9th. Will Christopher be late on the brakes? No, we'll just have a look at the timings and see if that's one of the fastest laps of the race, a 49.6. That previous lap was the fastest lap of the race. Brad Luck did a 49.691. So not quite as fast, just a bit faster than Rangy Rover actually. So Rangy's on a charge. And what's he got in front? Pixel Boy just under 3 seconds ahead. Here we go. Stu's got a nice toe. As it looks like Smithy has done his fastest lap of the race at 52.1 that time around. But can Stu try and get it down the inside in any place here? He's setting him up. No, it's Smithy holding strong through turn 5. Now it's a big drag uphill. Look at the run Stu's got coming up the hill. This is going to help him. May see a challenge as they come down into the Rivatza corners. Rivatza. He always had to stay off the throttle a little bit. Get himself sorted maybe for a nice run out of here. Got Brad Luck trying to make grounds after he's had a bit of an off previously. As Mac Attack, we've seen quite a few cars out there on the grass at the Tosa hairpin. It looks like he's maybe redressing a position of maybe have had some sort of problem, but that's brought up these guys. And Pixel Boy's just in front of Rangy Rover and Christopher. These narrow tyres as well, got a lot of slip angle going on with these cars. It looks like Rangy's driving the old one-handed casual as can be. Let's just have a little look on the hoop roll. No, he's got the two hands on the wheel. You see Christopher just in that left-hand mirror, lurking, seeing if there's an opening. Here we go, just ticking over with 10 minutes remaining. It's really in a race of mental stamina. A lot of these drivers are using the H pattern manual shifter. Little lift by Rangy as Pixel Boy holding that inside line, and that's given Christopher something to think about. You can see this part is very hard on the cars as they've got to try and hit the brakes coming straight out of that corner. And Pixel Boy's down the inside, still protecting that line. And look at Rangy Rover go as Christopher comes up. Oh, and Pixel Boy's had a moment down the inside, and Christopher's picked up 2 positions from 9th to 7th in one move. And he'll be counting his lucky chickens there. So that was a bit weird by Pixel Boy. I know that was a little bit of a lag spike, but he went straight into the wall, and I don't think it would have been a lag spike because he's lost definitely some ground there. So let's have a look. Esky Man leading this race with a 6 second margin over Bence, who's done a great job. He's really redeemed himself after Monza, where he definitely showed some pace but got caught into a bit of trouble, especially that Armco railing out through the chute out of the Monza Junior Circuit. So we'll be happy there with that second position. Just behind him is No Frills. And the rate these two are going, there could be a possible change for second position by the end of this race. So we'll keep an eye. Definitely No Frills just a little bit faster previous lap. We'll just see how they go as they go over the start and finish strip this time around. Oh, actually, there we go. So the thought of Bence, who hadn't had his mandatory stop. So he's in for that mandatory stop. So that's going to drop him down the order. As he's going to probably filter out just behind these guys. Come out in front of Mark 860, I think. These guys are just passing him now. Oh, he's still stationary though. It's a long pit stop. Holding him for a long time, so he's actually going to come out all the way down in 14th. So that's dropped him down big time. So we've got Esky Man's teammate in third position, Kiz. And the way that it's going at the moment, he might find himself tied for the lead with Christopher at the end of this race, if Christopher can't make any position on Rangy. At this time, Rangy looks like he's got that extra pace late in the race. Christopher slowly dropping, losing touch from Rangy. And what other battles we've got? We've got Truey. Stuck here behind Mark 860 with Bales. We haven't seen much of Bales lately. The sky blue car, number 33. Running in the top 12. He'll be trying to see if he can nudge into the 10, if he can try and get these two cars in front of him. Just see the similarities with the current version of Imola. Track it goes around the same layout, but obviously it's thrown in a few chicanes to slow the modern day cars around. Back in the day when safety wasn't really an issue. All about showing the brute force and the power of the cars back in the day. These cars weren't full of brute force, as we know. They're only 1 litre little Formula Fords, equivalent to the Formula Fords back in the day, the Formula Vintage. They're nearing the end of this race. Have a 4-way battle for the lead before the one and only safety car that we had during this race, and then it sort of spread the field out, but we've got this nice little battle for 10th position with Mark leading at the moment. Bale's trying to find a way through past Chewy if he can. Getting it all a little bit crossed up, coming into the 2 Ribarza corners. And look, Cuckoo's running hard at the back here, so he's the biggest loser in this race. Unfortunately, Cuckoo, he was leading the championship with Christopher. He's going to drop down a bit of the order, as he's in 13th at the moment, so he'll try and see if he can get a few sneaky points before this race is over. Remember, we've got 1 extra lap after this. Oh, big drifting moment from Truey. Shadows starting to appear over the road surface as they climb up the hill, up into here, turn 6. Not much has changed here in real life, just a little bit more runoff area. And all this is the same. Now look here, Brett is 1.5 seconds behind Kiz, and he's lapping roughly a second faster than Kiz. So we're gonna have 1 more lap after this. So there's this lap and the next remaining. So he has got some time, but he's gonna have to try and find a way past Kiz if he can. And obviously that's exactly what Chris in 7th position will really be after. As I said, a good chance that Kiz will be leading this championship, or tied the 1st position with Chris after this race, going into the final round where all these drivers step up to the big boys. The Formula Retro G1 cars, I think they got the symbol for. Back the 71, 72 type Formula 1 cars, where we will hit Kailami Historic Circuit. We're back here with Mark, actually just down here with Bales McKenzie, trying to hold off Cuckoo. You said Cuckoo's trying to salvage a few extra points here. I believe he was one of the drivers that got caught up on the fence. And he's setting up Bales for a move. Oh, almost a touch of the wheel. And looks like he's made that stick. So up into 12th. And he's going to have one more lap to see if he can gain. And there's quite a possibility that he could gain these 2 positions on these 2. Here we are on our final lap. And it's Esky Man. Clearly out in front. And then it's No Frills in the yellow 22 car. And then we got this big battle going on here. Kiz and Brett S. For the final spot of the podium. At the moment, Kiz is looking good. Only got to come down this hill here, then into Rivazza. Make sure he gets it right though. It's a tricky braking down the hill. But he's been doing it for 45 minutes, so I'm sure he can. But it's this man here, Esky Man, who's going to come home and take victory here tonight for the final round. And we'll do his championship prospects well. As Kiz has been able to hold off Brett. Just over the line for 3rd position. Well done to those guys. No Frills came home in 2nd. Magic Mass will find himself in the top 5. He'll be happy with that. And then Rangy Rover in 6th position. Oh, that's my prediction. He started last position after being on pole and having to disconnect late. Thanks, Dado. Glad you enjoyed the race replay from last night. It was a sensational race. Well done on your 2nd position, I think it was, in race 2. So much been going on. My brain is fried, but there we go. Christopher in 7th position, but Rangy Rover up into 6th from last, so that's a great result by him. Mark Attack will be happy with the 8th position. Probably would have liked a little bit higher, to be honest, but Pixel Boy held on to 9th and Mark 860 in 10th. Cuckoo was down in 13th. And we can just see there the running order there. Stu down in 16th. And what a run that was for Esky Man. Well done for him. And he was down in 9th position in the championship. Things haven't been the best for him. As I said, round 2 he got disconnected. Early man in the lead of the championship at that point too. So he's had a bit of rotten luck, but well done for that. Continuing on in the series. And doing a good job there in front with No Frills. 11 seconds adrift. Kiz just held off Brett for 3rd position. And that may just put him, as I said, equal leader with Christopher that finished in 7th position. And a bit further down we have Mark just coming in the top 10. So that's a little bit different. He came 3rd last week. So, but still in the top 10. Gravel Trap Legends. It's a very good thing to get in the top 10. Truey, who was caught out with that late, that mid-race safety car, really cost him the race. And it probably cost a few of the drivers actually the race, where they just couldn't get into the pits when the safety car was caught. I think they'll go and pass the entry at the time. And Cuckoo, as we've seen him having that problem at the Tosa hairpin, I think it was, up in the barrier and on the fence. Took a while for him to reset and get going again. But there we go, guys. What a race. We had Max Power 2 laps down. Other than that, looks like everyone else was on the lead lap. Bent's in 17th position. So we'll just pull up at the end shots here. And you can just see what we've got coming up next week. The Formula Retro G1s. Those cars on your right. Around Kyalami, 76. And we will obviously be bringing you all that action. Hopefully we'll get a big full grid on next week. So if you want to come and give these cars a go, make sure you jump on Shakedown on Wednesday night here at Gravel Trap Legends and give these cars a spin, where they'll give these cars a go around Kyalami, and make sure that they can see that you've got some good racecraft and invite you in here for Monday night racing. Hope you enjoyed tonight. I've been your host, Neil Haines, giving you all the action from Gravel Trap Legends final round of the Formula Juniors. And the drivers, I'm sure, will be itching to sign the good deal of these big powered cars. Formula 1 cars will have all the specs and all the niceties of these cars next week in the intro. So until then, cheerio everyone.